middle of the city. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys, welcome back to the Joyage Kingdom. I'm Cage, your guide. I'll be your place little voice inside your head for now, giving you a break from the constant internal monologue that is the human mind. I want to say first, thank you for listening or viewing on whatever platform you're on. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch. Shit, I mean, I guess I don't think on Twitch you can actually like the things, but this podcast is brought to you guys by BetFury Gaming, crypto company looking to bring y'all motherfucking generational wealth. We're gonna be bringing our educational content podcast over to a decent audience. For every 10 minutes you're watching on Twitch, you earn 100 points, and you can exchange those points for entries to win real cash prizes, guys. It's legit. Apologies for my rustiness. I have been traveling for the past, it feels like months straight, from like NFT LA to NFT New York to Charleston to see my family or my friends and stuff. My dad's coming in a few days. But a lot of things have been happening. The Joyage Torchment is still going on right now. We've still been making sales every couple of days. So that's really fun. Each torch is 0.08 ETH. It's just a way to join the Joyage. It's the easiest and cheapest way to get in. You guys know the access keys are fucking expensive. So I wanted to make it an easier way to join the ecosystem. Those are all done by private sales, by the way. So just DM me if you're interested. Today, we have Anthony, founder of Bulls and Apes NFT. They've got quite the ecosystem. I'm excited to dive into everything they've got. They got them some things coming up as well very soon. So, dude, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's happening, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, 100%. So, yeah, honestly, we might as well just start with that first thing. You guys got some stuff coming up. Like, I would love to talk about it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So we just launched our second collection, which was the Apes. So we had the Bulls. That was our original collection back in last May. So beginning of the bear market, we decided to launch an NFT project, and we've been crushing it through it, just relentless delivery. And our Ape collection is dynamic PFP, and we've got this pretty in-depth system to manage it. And I'm sure we'll get to that. But the most immediate thing coming up, we've always wanted to do the things that a lot of projects aspire to do, and one of them was to throw kick-ass events. And so we did a God Bull event last December, late last year. And for us, the God Bulls are like at the pinnacle of our brand pyramid. And that's like the elite. There's only 500 of them in the ecosystem. And we did a really highly curated event in Austin, Texas. We did whiskey tasting, mezcal tasting. We did axe throwing. We drove Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Porsches. We had a great dinner, just a great time. We did a whole bunch of stuff. And now we're doing it again. So we're doing two things in this May in Vegas. We're doing a mega meetup. And so we're bringing our community together. We're renting out the boombox at the Marquee. Later that night, Paulie D is DJing at the Marquee. So we're kind of like the lead up to that. So people could go hear Paulie D DJ. But before the mega meetup, we're doing another God Bowl event. And this is going to be sick. It's in Vegas, so it's Vegas style. We've got a jam-packed itinerary from 7 in the morning till midnight. We just got a full day of just insane activity. One of them we teased at, you're going to be flying and you're going to be playing laser tag. Let's put it that way. So, we've got an insane jam-packed, and there's only 8 tickets. And those 8 tickets, they're going on sale Wednesday. It's Dutch auction from 3 to 2 ETH. So, these are going to be a life experience. That's for sure.
You said 8? 8. God damn, that's gonna be a tight group of people then. Going through some experiences together.
Yeah, that's it, and that's what we did in Austin. Also, it was the four executives on a team plus 8 community members, and it was just a real intimate day. You got to meet each other, you got to network, and just had a blast. Just a blast.
So a lot of people, when they come into Web3, they talk about these things, these different styles of experiences. And in my experience, I have had some like work related stuff that was really fun too. And I know you previously came from, what was it? It was it's someone here. AK or X. Okay, that's the one. Yeah, so you came from that, which is insurance, and you were head of like global operations, like strategy and all this stuff over there. Did they ever do any activations like similar-ish in nature at all? No?
Not even close. It's insurance. They weren't going to be putting us up in the air. That's for sure. We had offsites and like corporate retreat kind of things, but nothing like this at all. Not at this level.
True. Do you know like what skills and experiences do you think you pulled from that job? By the way, while we're on that, real quick, do you think there's anything that you pulled from the insurance world that directly correlates with the Web3 stuff that you're doing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think when you're leading global teams, so I worked for global organizations, Excel, AXA, large global organizations, and I led large teams. One department was 1,200 people, and I was responsible for strategy across the 1,200, coming up with processes. And what I learned is that you got to lead with influence over authority. You're not in a factory, looking down on people and telling people what to do and do that, and you're doing that wrong. No, you're leading with culture, and that's what Web3 is, right? So Web3 to me is it's global, and it's not just with the company; it's with the community as well. And you've got, as somebody who's a founder of a project, you've got to lead not only within your company, you've got to lead within the community. And you can't lead with authority with the community. The community's there; they're your holders. They're the ones that are buying into the project, and so you've got to lead with influence. You've got to lead with culture.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think, has there been any big FUD moments where you've had to rely on your past leadership and your past experience? Like, what has been the biggest FUD, you think?
So we minted out the apes, and literally the second we minted out the apes, and it was a long grind, and so we were grinding it out, and we were on space. The last space we were on was like 8 hours or something like that, and it was late at night, and the team was exhausted, and we did some giveaways, and I didn't realize we said we were going to announce the giveaways on the space, and the team was drained, and I said, look, we'll announce it tomorrow, and oh man, the community was upset. And so it was like, I don't know, like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I spent like 45 minutes in DMs. But I'm like, no, look, I take ownership. It's on me. I told the team to go to bed. I didn't realize it was going to be a big deal. I apologize. And so
What do you think about that, by the way? Because there was a thread, I think it popped up, like basically like Grant Cardone, right? He comes from like the Web2 world. He's a super established, billionaire fucking real estate agent dude, right? It comes in his spaces and he just gets hounded for like not knowing the difference between a moonbird and a mooncat or something like that. And I remember thinking, I was like, I wonder what people think about us when they come in. Like what did you think about that personally when they blew up and were just so angry that you forgot to do a giveaway? Because like, in my head, I'd be like, bro, relax, dude. Like, relax. You're gonna be fine.
No, and that was part of my frustration at the time, and I didn't let that come through in the communications. I pushed back a little bit, but for me, it was, we're not new to this space. We've been delivering for a while now, and we followed through on every single thing that we said that we were going to. And maybe it didn't all work out the way we wanted it to work out, and maybe some things had delays, of course, but we always followed through. And so that was part of my frustration was, we're not new to the space. But for me, I try to put myself in other people's shoes as much as possible. And I get it. Like, if you stayed on a space for 8 hours thinking that you were going to get an announcement, sure, you're going to be upset. So I got it, right? If it was me, I don't have 8 hours to spare.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't be on someone else's space for 8 hours. And so there were some people who spent that time. And so for me, it's always, I'm an optimist, and I think that most people want to do good, and most people come from a good place. And so if you start there and then try to put yourself in their shoes, then you could start to see it from their angle and try to work through it.
True. Yeah. And you guys launched in May of 2022. Yeah. So like, why? Because that was probably like one of the worst times in the history of NFTs to ever drop a project. It was like literally right after. Well, I guess it wasn't, maybe not the worst, but like the crash was pretty much straight down after March.
No, exactly. And so people said we were crazy, right? So they were like, no, delay it, wait till after the bear. And at the time, people thought the bear was going to last a month or two. And so, yeah, there you go. And, I've been through this already, right? So I operated through the 01 recession. I operated through the 08 recession. And so, I know that during recessions is when you can build a massive company. And so you have to do a couple of things. I mean, you got to manage expenses. Number one, you got to make sure you have the capital, and you have to deliver relentlessly with conviction on what you're delivering. And so for us, the three founders, we got together, me, Manny, and Guy, and we were like, okay, what are we going to do? We're getting guidance from advisors that we should delay the mint. And we said, well, wait a second. Do we believe in what we're delivering? Do we believe it? So it's always a good time to start building something that you believe in. And so we decided to move forward with it. On top of that, we established a decent community at that point too. It wasn't like we were just dropping a mint cold. Right. there was a lot of people that were supporting us. There were a lot of people that were excited about it. And it wouldn't be fair to them just to be selfish and say, okay, we're going to wait until the market's perfect. And guess what? We would still be waiting.
Yeah, dude. There's a lot of projects that I know I talked to that were they wanted to do, they wanted like maybe like a brutally honest review of my channel. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, just make sure you guys have a little bit more to talk about. You guys don't have too much going on. And they're like, yeah, like we're going to wait a couple more weeks until the market like does something. And I was like, does what? And they're like, well, like we're not actually sure. And I was like, oh no, this is like the stage of the world we're in right now. That's funny, dude. Dude, I would love so just because there's some people in here, I imagine a lot of people in here do know a lot of the lore, but I know there are people who are brand new to the ecosystem and would love to just get like the TLDR on the lore aspect of it. You guys also have like a pretty in-depth ecosystem with a few different NFT projects. You got some Genesis Bulls, some Genesis Apes. You guys have some of the traits. You guys have opportunities for people to mix and match traits and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, and not to mention we've got Bulls on the block too. So OG project from summer of 21. We got to acquire that the last fall, and so we got that under our belt also. And by the way, that's where I really got started in behind the scenes Web3 was on Bulls on the Block. I met Manny on Bulls on the Block, and then he introduced me to Guy. And so there's a lot of heritage to that project. But the lore, it was really important to us, as I mentioned, that we came out and we delivered on what other projects always aspire to deliver. Lore was one of them. Tokenomics was another. But with the lore, we wanted to bring the characters to life. And so for us, we wanted to tell a story of why bulls, why apes, where did the bulls and apes come from? And so we've got this creator character. This character is, a highly advanced human who is able to harness life and, went around the universe just studying different life forms and fell in love with the bull and wanted to have his own creation. And through that, the bulls were living really in harmony. And they adopted, and we tried to tell a story of why all these traits were there and why there was like some funky matches with traits. And they really looked at human civilization and adopted our styles. And that's why they're wearing the traits that they're wearing. But there was too much harmony. And so the creator was like, they're not reaching their potential. There needs to be some tension. There needs to be chaos. And so from order came chaos. And that's where the apes came in. And they were a warring faction. They were scavengers. And so they went to war with the bulls, and then some of them broke off and they lived in harmony with the bulls. And so that's why they're adopting some of the bull traits. And that's where you're starting to see the dynamic PFP come in, and all of the traits that you saw on the bulls, you're now seeing on the apes as well.
Dude, isn't that funny? Like you just telling that story. There's so many lines back to normal reality and TV shows about like we have a bunch of peace, and then everyone's like, all right, this is kind of boring, not gonna lie, fuck. And like I remember I was just watching House of Dragon last night, and it was one of the later episodes. Actually, spoiler alert for anyone who is gonna watch but isn't going to. I mean, this is kind of not a spoiler, but King Viserys is like on his deathbed, and he like confides in one of his advisors, and he's like, man, maybe I should have like done something. He goes, I feel like I kept peace, but like I don't know, they're not gonna like write stories about me. And the guy was like, yeah, he's like, it's sort of one of those like you pick and choose. It's kind of there's always some kind of take and give back for everything. Like if your goal is to become just to become popular but not to build a brand, then maybe you get the followers but you can't convert anything else. Like you can't like sell t-shirts, you can't sell NFT product, you can't do anything with those because you just were focused on like the growth. And like there's always some kind of give and take with that kind of thing. But that is kind of funny that you mentioned the whole thing about that. And just to address some people in the chat, yes, I will be doing the NFT LA vlog is coming out, by the way, very soon. I have to literally get on a call with my editor right after this podcast and like go over a couple last minute things. That video should be coming out probably like I'm hoping tomorrow or something. And then NFT New York, that'll be coming out next week. I'm probably gonna have to break that into a couple different videos because so much shit happened in New York. It was actually insane. The coolest thing, by the way, were you at NFT NYC? Yeah,
I went to some of the events. Went to eight different events.
Which way? Well, I bet we were probably in the same room for a couple of them. Remember?
Kid Called Beast, Killer Bears, Puff
Bro, the Kid Called Beast was wild. I literally met every single one of my friends there. I was like, wait, you're here. And then I was like, you're here. And I turned around like, y'all are all here. Everyone's here right now. It was so cool.
Yeah, that was good. They did a good job at that event. I was at Styles P, nice. his concert. I went to ATS, Apes Together Strong. What else? Pizza Dow. Yeah, I can't remember what the other ones were. 4040 Club with Knights of Degen.
What'd you think about that whole week? Was that your first one at NFT NYC? Did you go the year before?
No, I went last year also. This year was better because I had more connections, and so it was there was a lot more networking. And what I also found about it was that a lot of people were looking for more meaningful connections, like meaning like connecting, talking business. And so, it was, there was partying too, but there was some good networking done.
Yeah, man, 1,000,000%. I agree. I was in the same boat. 2021 was insane, and like all the YouTubers were there last time, so I had the best time just like hanging out and like doing whatever. But this time, yeah, it was cool to like further some of those relationships that you talk to these people online all the time, and to get to hang out with them a little bit in real life. That was so much fun, so much fun. Also, guys, if you're in spaces, especially, this is more relevant to you guys. But if you're watching this anywhere on video stream, Twitch or YouTube, anyone can participate in this giveaway. So because Anthony is a fucking G, he supplied a sick NFT. Can I actually pin the one we're going to give away?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let me see if I can find a way to, because there's the top one. I want to, maybe I'll just screenshot it and post it, and then I'll pin this. Guys, we are giving away one of the most elite fucking NFTs in this collection. It is so sexy. I'm going to post it right now, and I'm going to pin it. All you have to do to enter into this giveaway, though, is literally just retweet this space. So bottom right icon, you'll see a little message icon, and hit that button, and then hit the retweet button. And then all you have to do is be following me and Anthony and Bulls and Apes, and then screenshot where you're at. If you're watching this on Spaces, you're listening to this on Spaces, if you're watching this on Twitch or YouTube, all you have to do is screenshot where you're at, tag it, tweet us so I see it. Obviously, I'm going to be scrolling through all those things, and I'll be checking for the retweet, and I'll be checking for the follow, and then one of you is going to win one of these fucking NFTs. And here we go. I'm going to pin it right now. If you're in Spaces, it's pinned. If you're on YouTube, let me just zoom in on this, and I'll show the screen. Oh, fuck, hold on.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's hard to see. Let me wait. Dude, that is so sick. That is so sick. Man, I'm gonna be so jealous, dude. That's one of the coolest ones I've ever seen.
Paint splash, got the glasses. Looking good.
So fucking, yeah. So thank you for that supply, that one, dude. That is gonna be so cool. Cannot wait for someone to join the ecosystem, and also for that to be like the one that they're in with, right? Like, what a W.
Absolutely. Yeah. And look, for us, the company, we started the company because we wanted to do some good in the space. And for us, we look at blockchain, removing gatekeepers, removing intermediaries. It's all about creating opportunity. Our vision for the company is to create a world of infinite opportunity. And we're doing that through the project. We've got cool tokenomics. Our tokenomics, we had an ascension model with it where you own a bull, it's own to earn. And so you don't got to do staking. You keep your assets in your wallet. And you have control of your assets. You bring in the tokenomics. You're able to earn what we call our tokens called methane. So a little play on it's play on meth. It's a play on bulls create methane, and the bulls earn methane. And then people were able to level up to a team bull, to a god bull. Now they're able to use methane to play in the ape ecosystem with the traits. But the other thing that it does is it opens the door into our inner circle, and we're leading by example. We've got deep connections in the VC world. And so we're bringing VC deal flow to our inner circle. So just by owning that one bull, you can hop in, you can learn about VC deals, you can learn about VC deal flow, and have an opportunity to invest in companies like OpenSea we invested in, SpaceX we invested in. So pretty cool opportunities.
Yeah, man. I remember reading about that, and honestly listening to the podcast about it, and that was super interesting about the VC bit. And also you guys had like I know we talked about it right before, you guys also had like a 6-month refund for anyone who minted one of the NFTs, and only 15 people ended up refunding at all, which is that was a massive flex. What a W to even talk about now, to be able to say you did something like that. Like, that is so ultra high risky. Like, what gave you the right to do something like that? Like, that is such a risky play, like, what was the thought behind that? Was it like, what was your thoughts?
Yeah, so we launched Twitter and Discord in February 2022. And literally, like, the day we launched it, it was the Squiggles controversy. If you remember Squiggles.
I do.
And so Squiggles was coming out, and there was a lot of controversy around it. And we're like, what the hell's going on? What are we doing? And so the three founders, we got together, and Guy was the one who was like, well, in the real world, you could do a refund. Like, why don't we do a refund? And we're like, well, wait a second. No, nobody does that in this space, right? And so we're like, well, that's why we should do it. So we like, well, what's an exaggerated time frame? Like, let's do 6 months. Let's do 180 days, 6 months, ETH back guarantee. So no matter what happens, you don't come to us. You don't got to call a toll-free number. You don't got to email support. You just go right to the contract and say, give me a refund. Bull comes back to us. ETH goes back to you. And that's it. And so there were 15 bulls that were returned to us. Those 8 people that decided to do the refund. And, I only talked to one of them, I think. And that one person was like, nah, NFTs just, you onboarded me, but NFTs just aren't for me. This market's crazy. And yeah, they just backed out.
True. That's how it is sometimes, you know, but that's crazy. You guys gave that option. Like that is so, I've literally never heard of that ever on any NFT. I don't know. I mean, if you guys can think of one, throw it in the chat because I would love to know what project that was. But I don't think I've ever seen a project do something as extreme as that. Like, man, I'm sure the community was probably like, damn.
Well, it gave a lot of people confidence in it, right? So because we were new founders, right? You know, we were, you know, we got our Web 2 experience that we were bringing to the table, but we were first time founders in the NFT space. And so we said, okay, you know, here we have such conviction and confidence in what we're building. Let us take on some of the risk.
Yeah.
And then you could choose if you trust us or not. And so that's how we built the community that we have.
Well, it brings back a concept that I started to believe in more in the last couple of months, which was like essentially on like the most simple terms, like risk it for the biscuit. But like you have to literally like risk the thing that you want to get the thing that you want. Like a lot of times you have to take that, you have to roll the dice in yourself. That's what I say all the time for my brain. Roll the dice in yourself. See what fucking happens by taking a big fat risk, even if you don't have the money. You know, obviously situations are different. Some people have families and stuff. But for people who are listening and maybe you have something you really wanted to do, there's literally just this one life that you got, and you pretty much are going to have to risk that thing that you're terrified to risk if you want that thing that you also want that makes you terrified to think about. And to do something like that is sort of like to the extreme of that. Very, very cool stuff, dude. Sorry, were you about to say something?
No. Just going to say no doubt about it. I mean, it's just us coming into Web3. Anybody who left their career and came into Web3 full time, you know, that's what I did. I had pretty 20 plus years in the corporate world. And walked away from that to do the Web3 thing. So, you know, you gotta take some risk if you're, you know, how many of us have complained that we didn't get that opportunity? How many of us complain that somebody held us back, or right? All of us have. And so how long can you complain without taking some action? And that's what we're trying to do with our inner circle, is to open up some of those opportunities. The VC deal flow, like I never even knew that was accessible. I thought it was just for the super rich. You know, I'm never going to be able to. And then I saw that you can invest with as little as $1,000 into some of these VC deals and be part of an awesome company like SpaceX. That's a pretty cool opportunity that I didn't know was accessible. And those are the kind of things that we want to do, is open up people's eyes to the opportunities that are available.
Yeah, man, that's cool as shit, actually. And I would love to talk about that. So you have like the VC deal flow. What are, in my head, that sounds terrific. And then I think about like certain people doing things like that and like investing in like participating in that. Like a lot of the things that are utility focuses that a lot of projects push sound great in theory. Do they work in real life? Like how's the VC thing been? And also with like the meth and related to the utility token, like how's that actually been in your experience with it and like the holders' experience with it?
Yeah, so the VC deal is we're just connectors. You know, we don't manage the VC deals. All we do is connect. So we've got connections. Manny in particular has deep connections in the VC world, and so through those connections, he's negotiated low entry rates. He's helped negotiate low carry rates, so that the holders, it's accessible to the holders. And so all we do is make the connection. We say, hey, this cool deal came across our desk. If you're interested, click this link and you go work it out with the syndicate. You work it out with the firm. We're not involved at all. We're not intermediaries. So we get nothing out of it. It's really just us leveraging our connection. And there's been really good participation in a lot. There's been 22 deals so far that we've brought to the community. And there's been enough. Let's put it this way. If there wasn't participation, the syndicates would be like, no, we're not doing it with you anymore. It's not worth it. So there's enough participation where the syndicates keep on sending us deals. So, you know, it's worked out pretty good so far.
That's probably one of the main metrics you guys use. Like one thing I'm trying to incorporate more in my content, especially with podcasts, people who come from, you know, like a reputable job before and they came from a normal place, not in Web3. Maybe they didn't, like a lot of people you talk to in crypto, you know, maybe they made a little bit of a bag and then they just happened to just walk in at the right time and make $6 million. Then there's some people who have, you know, grinded and been working and like has seen the world and seen how things are. And like, what are the companies thinking about? I mean, you worked in insurance, so you might even know more into this, but like, what are the companies looking for? Like, what are the metrics that they use before they say maybe, hey, we look at this NFT project, we would love to collaborate. I mean, in my head, like a VC fund or any kind of big company collaborating with an NFT project is very rare, in my opinion. And there's got to be something specific that they're looking for. Because if they look at a picture and you know, the majority of people just see a picture of a bull or a picture of an ape or a monkey or whatever they see, they're like, why would we work with them? You know?
Yeah, one of the things that that is kind of coalescing in my head is this idea of a managed community. You know, a community of people that together are larger than they are individually.
Mm,
And so when you look at big brands, you look at where they're going just from a marketing perspective. They went from traditional ads to commercials to influencers and now to micro influencers.
mhm.
But they have to have somebody that's managing all of these micro influencer campaigns so
Yeah.
that it's serving a purpose. Now, what if they could tap into a community? And so instead of going to all these little micro influencers, they could go to a community where somebody's managing that on their behalf. And that's a bit of what's happening with the VC deal flow.
Mm.
Instead of having to reach out to all of these individual investors, they could come to us and say, hey, open this up to your community. And with very little marketing on their side, we're doing it. We're the ones who are offering a deal up. They're getting all of these smaller investors to come in. So that's what's happening with the VC deal flow. And that's I think something that I think founders should be looking at in the Web3 space is that they've created communities that are highly engaged, that really care about what they're doing. And how can they do that in a win-win way? How can they do that to bring attention to the project, but then also reward the community? And so you have that win-win-win where a brand wins, the project wins, and the community wins.
And I've also seen a lot of people talking about micro influencers. It's funny that you use that specific word. I just watched a video, like a TikTok on this earlier. And it's one of the strategies I've been talking about for people who want to go full time in Web3. Or not even Web3. It's just possible. It's much more possible than it's pretty much ever been in the history of ever. And that's why I've made more content on in the past month or so. But guys, just for y'all who are listening, like I've built my Brutally Honest Review business on YouTube for the past 2 years straight. And it wasn't anything that I built other than the skill set of doing those reviews and a little bit of like building the brand of someone who does reviews. But now I'm making like, just as much money on TikTok doing the same thing. And I'm a micro influencer. I would definitely categorize myself as that. I don't even have 50,000 followers across all platforms, yet I've been full-time for 2 years. So I'm just like, for people who don't think that they can because they don't have as many followers, they don't have a million views, they can't generate viral content. A lot of companies don't need the viral content. A lot of companies just need the content, like a lot of them actually do. And you can charge a certain amount of money based on the industry you're in. If you're in the fitness industry, you probably can't charge as much because that shit is saturated as fuck. And there's a supplement company for every single person who works out. There's just so many of them. So you're only going to be able to charge $10 or $20 a video, or maybe not even anything, probably just free supplements. But if you're in a world of finance, for example, Web3, NFTs, crypto, stocks, whatever, that's an industry that you can charge a little bit of money for. And it's cool because it feels like the world as a whole, and I'm very curious to get your perspective on this, Anthony, like the world itself literally feels like it's turning decentralized no matter what we do. Like we're seeing Amazon start to decentralize like the workers. Like we don't see Amazon trucks anymore. I see random Honda Civics delivering Amazon because they're just like, no, why would we do that? We can just hire anyone who wants to come in like a freelancer.
No, you're 1,000% correct. And it's where the world's been going anyway. And I believe that blockchain is just going to enable that more. That's why I'm here, is because removing look at what's going on in the world right now with the banking industry and all of the mess where your money's not even safe in the bank. It's like, take it to the bank. No, you can't take it to the bank. And you look at with the mess that's going on with the SEC and the hearings that Gensler was in, and he's never even owned a cryptocurrency. He's calling digital assets his bank account. It's like,
I can't believe it.
These are the people that are pushing the country, like pushing the world forward. And so decentralization is going to happen one way or another. And blockchain is helping to enable that. And it means that it's more power and control for the individual. And that's why I'm here is for that. So I do agree with you. Workforce has been going decentralized, and you look at things like Upwork and Fiverr, you don't need to go and open up. Like we opened up an office back in India, my company, in order to go to a low cost region. We don't need to do that anymore. If you want to source, you can source on Upwork, and you could source from a number of different areas. And so the low cost region doesn't have to be, I got to set up shop in India. I got to set up shop in Manila. I got to, you can do it from your home country. Yeah. And source it out. So the world is becoming more and more decentralized anyway.
Yeah. And because of decentralization, it's like with that comes the truth that like you can create that job even if it doesn't exist. Like I remember when I first got my first ever paycheck in crypto for working with this project called Ugaverse, and I like showed my dad. I was like, "Look, $2,500." And I remember he looked at me. He was like, "Damn." You know, it's just he was like,
Yeah.
"What is your job?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he was like, "You just created that job." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was just like, "Well, damn." It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. He literally had no idea. He just didn't know what to say. But while we're on that topic of people, you know, working Web3, getting jobs and stuff, I've hired a little bit in the last few months, which has been terrifying for me because I'm 24. I'm like, the idea of like employing someone is terrifying to me because I'm like, I'm barely like going on myself right now. I'm like a starter entrepreneur just a couple of years in. What are the things that you guys look for as someone who's hiring, and then also someone who's maybe just looking to collaborate and stuff like that? Like, what are the things you're looking for in other people?
Fit is number one. So when I talk about the culture and leading with culture, you got to bring people in that fit into the culture. You want different ways of thinking and different ways of working, but having the right values and having the right fit is the by far the most important part. You get someone in with the wrong fit, and it could disrupt the whole team. And we've all done it. I've hired people that were bad fits, and you thought they were a good fit, and it turns out not, and it always disrupts the team. And so you've got to hire for fit, and then when it's not the right fit, you've got to be willing to part ways.
Yeah, true, 100%. Also, I saw Tomaska in here says, "Cade, when will the giveaway be taking place?" So, just real quick, if you guys didn't know about the giveaway going, we are running a giveaway for one of these Genesis bowls. It's fucking sick. It's worth, I think, around like $300 to $400 or something like that, like 0.2, 0.3 ETH. Really cool shit. And all you have to do is be following us on Twitter and retweet the space and screenshot and tag us. That's all you have to do. I just want to see our beautiful faces all over the Twitter timeline. People should know that Bulls and Apes are on the fucking podcast right now. That's all you have to do to enter the giveaway. And I will be announcing that somewhere around the 60-minute mark. So just so you guys are aware, if I don't, please let me know, because I do have ADHD sometimes, and I might like gloss over it. So just remind me if I don't talk about it. So anyways, in regards to your community though, and participation and things like that, is there even any positions that are available just to work on Bulls and Apes? Is there anything that you guys are hiring for? And then B, this is, I guess, a little bit separate. Like, what is the best NFT to buy just to like join the ecosystem if you're someone who's new, kind of thing?
Well, I mean, the best NFT is the Bull. Okay. That's access to the inner circle. That's the only NFT that'll get you access into the inner circle and the VC deal flow. That is always going to get preference for us in the ecosystem. Now, the ape is fun, and you could buy an ape and you could be part of the BAP family, and you could interact with the community, and there's all different configurations you could do, and you could design your own ape, you could tweet about it, and everybody the community's rallied around this ape trait of the day contest where they pick a trait each day, and they have a contest of who can create the best ape. So there's a lot of fun with the apes. Bulls on the Block is the OG collection, right? That's so if you want a piece of history, you can get involved in Bulls on the Block, but the OG, the bull, the Genesis bull, that is the inner circle. That's the membership card.
True. And also, do you think you can pinpoint like the true value of floor price? Like, I know it's so hard because you look at two projects side by side, and like oftentimes I wouldn't be able to decide which one's got it, which ones has a floor of 0.05 versus 0.5. Like sometimes it's random. Do you have anything that you think pinpoints true value of a floor price? Because it is important whether or not people think it is.
Oh no, it is important. And so, there isn't a direct correlation like in stocks and in the stock market world. You look at balance sheets, you look at income statements, you look at earnings, you look at cash flow. There's standard statements that you're gonna look at. When you look at NFTs, it's not buying stock. I know a lot of people feel like they're investing in a company. Yeah. So the question is, how much do you value the community that you're involved in? How much do you see the potential of where it's going? How much do you see that this is going to be worth as a collectible? And so there's a number of different angles when you look at an NFT, or at least what we're calling NFTs right now. Because by the way, future, we're not even going to call it NFTs. It's going to be, it's just going to be what it is, whatever the utility is. But these community-based digital collectibles, it's very speculative. It's about where do you think it's going to go. It's about how much value you see in the community that you're a part of. And so there's not a direct correlation, at the moment. Now, some of the things that we're doing, I believe that, brings it a little bit more in focus. So you think about the VC deal flow. Well, if you're able to invest in those 22 deals that you normally wouldn't have access to, and you believe that you're going to make X off of it, then you could start bringing it back to, what the value is. So the more that projects bring real life utility to the table, and then people are going to be able to correlate that, okay, if I buy this, I'm going to be able to get this value. But most projects do not have that direct line of correlation right now.
Yeah, a lot of projects are sort of just shooting and hoping, like I remember that was one of the things I was terrified of. Like in 2021, I thought about dropping a collection, but I was just getting started. I was just like, YouTube was finally picking up, and I was like, I don't know if I can split my focus here. And I guess we'll never know like what was the right decision, because that time has come and gone. Who knows if we'll see that level of bull run? Like, what do you think will trigger the next bull run? What do you think? What are you excited about? What are the differences from this past one, the ones before? Like, what are your thoughts on all that?
Well, number one, I'm hopeful that the next bull run is going to be driven off of real life use cases that are enhanced by blockchain. So forget the hype, the speculation. There should be real life use cases. You should be able to go and sell the product without using the word Web3, without using the word NFT, and sell it. And people be like, wait, I could do that with it? How can I do that with it? Oh, there's this technology called blockchain that's behind it. That should be only for the curious people that want to know how it works, right? So I think someone was talking about the other day, like you use a credit card, you're not like saying, wait, how does that credit card work? And like, what's the technology behind it? You're not doing that. And so I believe that the next bull run is going to be more of these real world use cases where people are like, wow, that's freaking awesome. How did that work? And it's like, oh, by the way, it's blockchain behind it.
Mm-hmm. Where do you hope to be when potentially like a metaverse comes? Like where's the role that you hope to be fitting, and like what do you hope to be doing day to day?
Yeah, so for us, we've got a metaverse vision around it being an entrepreneurial platform, and so similar to when the internet first started, and you're a bit young for it, but looking at 98, 99, 2000. People were looking at the internet, and a lot of businesses treated it like this thing that was over there. But eventually it became an extension of their business. And I believe that metaverse is going to be something similar, where that's going to serve as an extension of the business. And so we envision a very entrepreneurial microtransaction kind of a platform, that's the kind of metaverse that we're looking at for sure.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I would love to know people's thoughts on the metaverse too. I get roasted alive every time I tell everyone that I'm a metaverse maxi, dude. Like, I just watched Tron 2 the other day, and I was just like, dude, my fucking God, that is so lit. Like, that is the coolest thing ever, bro. Tron, like Ready Player One, dude. Like, that literally altered my entire brain. I remember watching that, and I was like, whoa. And there's a few, there's like a TV show that I'm thinking of. It's either Westworld or another show. And like anything like that gets me going. Like even like Spy Kids 3 is literally in the metaverse, and like it's an old movie and people like make fun of it and stuff. But I'm sitting here going like, bro, like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I mean, have y'all seen what's happened the last 5 years? Like the fact that 90% of my job now is running my stuff through ChatGPT prompts and word tune prompts. I'm like, bro, what world do you like? I'm sitting here living in the future right now. Like, why do y'all think this isn't possible? And I bring this up all the time. We are one invention away. We are one, good story away from everything changing. I mean, it literally happened with AI. Like OpenAI comes out, boom, AI is on the board, and it wasn't before. So I'm pumped about it. Like, do you have any friends in the real world? Do they make fun of you for the NFT Web3 stuff? They're like poking fun at you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's plenty of people like, this is crap. I can't believe you're doing what you're doing. This is a waste of time. It's a fad. It's all of this stuff. And, we've seen, Bill Gates talking to Dave Letterman in those clips and stuff when they're making fun of the internet. And I do believe it's the same thing. And what we're calling Web3 right now, I do think it's going to be kind of this cross section of blockchain, AI, and metaverse. And by the way, all of the fears around AI, blockchain is an answer to that. And so when we think about AI taking over and taking control, there's going to be a cross section of AI and blockchain, because blockchain gives you the power and control over the data, over the transactions, over the flow. And so people are going to start looking at that cross section and coming up with solutions that's going to help us keep control of AI. I'm certain of that.
Yeah, the AI revolution is going to be something out of a science fiction novel, and I'm here for it, bro. Like, I know it's scary. I know some people are nervous about it. Honestly, more people than not are scared. I found, which I guess just surprised me because I'm more excited than I am scared. I guess I just know that inherently, anytime we go and tap in anything that innovative, we are risking a little bit. AI is just a little bit different because it's not really in our control once it starts learning from itself.
Yeah.
And we've seen, dude, there's been some things I've read online where they're like, yeah, the two computers started talking to themselves in a made up language that we didn't know. And I was like, okay, is that for real? Like, that's actually kind of insane right there. And dude, I'm a nerd about the AI stuff. Like, I wonder what the biggest arbitrage opportunities are going to be moving forward. I wonder, like, what do you foresee NFT like, no matter what happens, the NFT degenerate world is going to follow in their own degenerate way. Like, we just saw
Absolutely.
Trump drop his second collection. If that motherfucker becomes like the number one Republican nominee and he's running for president, a third one's coming, a fourth one's coming. Like, it's going to be some crazy stuff. What do you envision going to happen once AI starts to become a bit more of a legitimate thing? More people are using it every day and it's becoming more of like a mainstream adopted thing.
Yeah, and so we're heavily exploring AI right now for ourselves. And one of the things that we're finding right now is that it's not great for facts, fact-based stuff where you're trying to get a very specific answer. But it is absolutely great for helping you to think through things. And so we're constantly, as we're looking at marketing, as we're looking for ideas, as we're looking for social media content, is running it through it and seeing the different variations that come out, and then start to use it. But what I believe is gonna happen is when it gets more, it gets a little clearer on the fact-based pieces. You're looking at customer service, a chatbot, an AI chatbot that's able to answer all the questions for the company. You're going to be able to do those kind of things, and those are the practical real life use cases that'll be there. Getting it integrated into some of your apps that you have. There was one, Jasper AI is one tool that we use, and I was talking to their reps over there about doing a business account, and they were telling me that they went to this law firm, and these lawyers that writing lawyer type emails, they were fighting with each other because it was like the tone was wrong and all this. Now they just run it through Jasper's like plugin to the email and say, give me a friendly tone.
Yeah,
and like it solves so many issues of all this fighting just because now these emails had a friendly tone rather than their lawyer speak.
Dude, literally, that's why I do a lot of things with prompt. I've been really getting into prompts. Like, one of my friends who's she's like a hardcore entrepreneur. She was telling me, she was just like, if you can learn how to prompt correctly, she's like, you can actually use this stuff. She's right now you suck at it. That's why you're not using this very well. And so she was just kind of ran me through a few different ways to think about it. And it can be that easy, bro. You can be like, yo, make this a little bit, like, make this into a TikTok style paragraph or something. Like, what would make this specifically this? Or like, if there was a project I was reviewing or a company, I'd be like, yo, what would happen if they didn't solve this problem? Or like just very specific things. You can get different answers from it, and it's the coolest thing ever. This, I guess, a little bit out of left field, slightly. I saw Malibu had a comment here from Twitch. He says, what's the hard step on a way to create a coin or a cryptocurrency? Just thoughts around that, because there's so much debate whether or not it is or isn't whatever they're calling it. Like, no one knows what it is. No one knows what it isn't. No one knows the legality and the rules of it. Is that something you guys were nervous about when you created the meth coin?
Yeah, absolutely. So we consult with 3 different law firms at the moment. And we've got a crypto firm, we've got an offshore firm, and we've got corporate counsel. And we do a lot of consulting with them on what we can and can't do with the methane token. And so for us, we've gone out of the way to make it an in-game utility token. It is not a security token. Now, of course, there's decentralized exchanges. People are trading it peer-to-peer. And so the community is doing things with it. But we're treating it no different than like Robux for Roblox or any other in-game currency. And that's how we're treating it. We put out like a mini white paper, just talking through our strategy with it. And that's all very intentional coming from our council. So the tech to create a coin is very, very simple. Throwing up a coin isn't the hard part. Yep. It's what are you putting around the coin? It's the ecosystem around it. Is it a security? And if it is, then how do you get it listed on all the different exchanges? what is the thought process around it? How are you going to use it? What are the use cases? What makes it special? What's a differentiator? You know, it's no different than any other business. You know, you create a coin and it's got to be something around it. Now, I know you could have something like Pepe that has like blasted off on a roller coaster
Just about to ask you about
few
that.
days. And you know, you could tap into the meme culture just like you could with anything else. But you know, if you're trying to start a business with it, you know, you got to decide, is it a security? Is it a utility? If it's a security, what's a differentiator? If it's a utility, what's the ecosystem around it? And so that's what we built is an ongoing ecosystem around using methane.
Has there anything that's come up again and again? It's like become sort of like a headache just because you guys dropped the coin and you know, like I know there's a bunch of things that our projects dropped, you know, a year and a half ago because that was what people wanted, and then a year later, like people don't want it, and now they've got this thing that people don't really use or want. Has there anything in that sense? Have you guys started with anything that methane kind of solved in the beginning a year ago or whenever it was dropped versus now? Has anything changed? Has there been any headaches?
Yeah, there's been headaches for sure. So one of the things that you know is really important is that there's no lull in your gamification. There's no lull in your tokenomics, and we've had lulls. And when there's a lull, the methane builds up, and people get antsy, and they're like, "What am I going to use this for? I'm collecting it, and there's nothing to use it for." And then prices drop, and even though it's not a security token, and we tell everybody, you see that price drop, it's just emotion, right? It's just, if you're looking at it, you're like, what the hell? I'm owning this thing. I'm collecting this thing that's worth nothing. And we're in that little bit of a lull right now because some of our gamification for the apes hasn't kicked in yet. And, you know, there's people that are saying, hey, you need to fund the decks. Well, I can't, because if I do that, then I'm going to put the whole project at jeopardy, which puts the community at jeopardy. You know, it sounds like the logical thing to do to boost up the price, but, you know, we're running a business, and we're running a business on behalf of the community. And so we've got to make some of the tough decisions where, you know, we've got to grin and bear it a little bit here until some of the demand kicks in.
Yeah, man. And I think because I've always been a collector, and I know you are also a collector. Like I collected Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards. I saw you collected cards in the past too, and now you collect some wine. I was gonna ask what's the alpha on wine, because wine looks so sexy, but I just can't find one that tastes good. I've tried all the things. But I was gonna say in regards to collecting, you do have I wish there was a bigger crowd of people who were just collecting and vibing out, because I think there are people like that, but it might be one of those cases where there are a lot of them. They just aren't the ones yelling and shouting on Twitter. And the ones that are louder on Twitter, maybe there's less of them, but they are the degen traders. They're the ones who get in and out within 36, 48 hours. And then they FUD, you know, whatever they couldn't get their hands on, kind of thing. What are your thoughts on the collecting world of NFTs? Is there any room for that?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, you look at the collectible market, and wine is you know, people spend a ton of money on wine, and they collect just to collect. I mean, I've got a wine cellar, and I've got a bunch of bottles in it. But then you look at watches. People collect watches and spend a stupid amount on watches. You got people who collect guns. You got people who collect cars. People like to collect. There's a lot of people who like to collect, and at some point, you know, there will be projects, there will be NFTs that are viewed as just collectibles. But brand is important around that. Brand, prestige, the flex, making it fun on top of that, where they want to have the same, they want to have a set. You know, these kind of things are going to be, there's room for it for sure. And you think about, you know, I saw like different graphs on digital assets that people buy, and, you know, they had millennials, crypto is the number one, you know, NFTs were number two, but then you go to Gen Z, and, you know, in-game currency is number one. Skins wearables is number two. And so that crowd, when that crowd starts to mature and have more and more money, they're going to want to do mature things like collecting high-end digital collectibles. Yeah. There's going to be a market for that. They're going to look at it and say, why am I going to go and buy this car that I've got to store somewhere? You know, or why do I want, you know, 1 billion watches that I'm not gonna wear? But if they got the digital asset, you know, maybe that's different because they're able to show it off. You know, the people who collect watches, they're sitting up in a watch drawer somewhere. Yeah, you know, they're wearing one at a time. But if you collect the digital collectibles, now you can show it off to your friends all at once. Look at my collection,
dude. And that was one of the things that got me excited. And also, once we started to see developments in digital flexes becoming more normal, in the sense that, like, it's weird to say this out loud, but like TikTok right now and Snapchat, not so much Snapchat, just TikTok, people who can effectively use the filters are looked at like gods and goddesses. It's weird. It's like a weird thing to say out loud, but like people who have mastered how to do the filters correctly where they look better.
Yeah.
People are like in the comments, like, how did you get this thing to look? I look like a fucking toad, like for some reason. Like, how did you? And it's the weirdest thing. And like Instagram now is like copying what Twitter did. They're charging like whatever, 10, 15 bucks a month to get verified. I did it, of course, because I'm a content creator. I don't want people to get scammed. And I saw a lot of people like making fun of other people because, you know, depending on what you're using your social media for, you know, people maybe are making fun of people for paying $15 for verification.
Yeah.
But then I'm starting to see like another crowd of people where they're like, oh, but like, I kind of want the verification anyway. And I'm like, oh, so you want to pay $15 a month for nothing, which you made fun of me for 2 years ago. And I was like, you're not even getting the picture. I was like, you're just getting a verification tick. They can take that away at any point.
Any point.
NFTs, baby, you know, it's starting to make a lot of sense. Where do you think, okay, I'll just throw this question at you. It's the most generic shit ever, but like, how far away do you think we are from a different type of world where there's a different kind of conversation going around from like normal people on the side of the street? Because right now, if you ask 100 people on the street right now in Seattle, I get probably 10 who maybe know, and that's just because I live in a tech world. It's like not even 10%, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I don't think you're ever going to get a common group of people that are talking about NFTs because they're going to wind up talking about, oh, cool, I'm able to buy and sell this ticket that I got. And they're going to be able to say, oh, the loyalty rewards that Starbucks is doing, oh, that's kick ass. I'm able to do this, this, and this. How are they doing it? Like, or they might not even ask how they're doing it. So it's that earlier conversation that we had where, you know, that it's common people are going to be talking about how these real life use cases are awesome. And they're awesome because they were enhanced by blockchain technology. That's what's going to happen. And we're seeing that happen now. I mean, what Starbucks is doing is interesting. You know, you look at sports tickets and some of the sports tickets are considering going to blockchain. You know, that's the pieces that when those things start to happen, that's when the blockchain technology is going to become more and more adopted. And with that additional adoption, that's when you're going to have the technology improvements. Because right now, a lot of the energy and focus, not all, but a lot of the energy and focus, because it's so speculative, a lot of the energy and focus is new coin, new NFT, because people are allowed to they're able to make money off of it. What I want to see happen is that there's investment in the ecosystem. Right. And as there's more and more real life use cases, there'll be more and more demand to have all these helper tools that actually make the ecosystem more usable.
And while we're talking about also like the conversations going around for people, one of the ones that I see as, I don't know, in my opinion, it's like sort of inevitable, and it's sort of alluded to in some Black Mirror episodes with the idea of these central bank digital currencies or CBDCs in related to universal based income. And I know that would definitely, like 4 months ago, was like very contrarian to say. Now I feel like a lot of people are kind of like, oh, that actually makes sense. I just saw a video the other day. It's either Korea or China in schools right now, in some schools at least. They have a face scanner at lunch. And if you're in the lunch line and your face scanner shows up that you've been bad or something, and I don't know, maybe you got a C or you got like a C on the test, and you've been acting up a little bit this past week in school, they literally just like won't give you as much food. And I'm sitting here going like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And the idea of like that, and the idea of, I mean, we just saw with COVID, it was like a perfect example how they gave everyone, the stimulus checks and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, the dollar is pretty much worth nothing at this point, and it seems like it's just going worse and worse every single week. What if they introduce a USD digital currency, and now it's going to be worth approximately around what $1,000 would be per month? And they say, okay, guys, if you want, so I mean, you guys saw the stimulus checks, we guys helped you out, all these things, and people are like, oh, that was so nice. I remember getting extra a few $100 a month. They're like, now we're going to give it to you in this digital currency, but if you want to get this free money, basically, you got to sign up for these few things that you can't do now. We can't do this. And if you do, we'll withhold it from you, or we'll cancel your fucking bank account that we have with this thing. What are your thoughts on that whole thing? Do you think it's possible? Are you looking forward to that? I mean, I think there's positive benefits for each one. Yeah.
So look, when we talk about AI and if AI is as crazy as, a lot of people say it's going to be, and maybe it is, maybe it's not. And, 80% of the workforce gets wiped out by AI. Well, we have to do something. Yeah. Right. You can't just have the 20% that are making all the money. And so I'm not personally, I'm all for working hard for what you get, and keep the government out of our lives. I'm more of a libertarian than anything. That's why I'm in the blockchain space. let me have power and control over it and let me own my own destiny. But if there's some like massively disruptive technology that happens overnight and society can't adjust to it, we got to do something, right? You can't, so I'm more open to that kind of thought process now than before AI really started becoming a reality. But what I'm not for is this idea of government having their own blockchain, their own digital currency, and then having the ability to completely control it. Blockchain, the part of blockchain that I love is the decentralized part of it.
Yeah.
The part of it that removes the gatekeepers and the intermediaries, that gives power to the individual. That's the part that we need to preserve as much as possible.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a funky little world because it'll probably like they all sort of blend together, like the world of AI, the world of the metaverse, the NFT, like the blockchain usability of everything, and how everything starts to work together. And that's why I had a conversation with Brett Malinowski a few months ago, and he was talking about that intersection of topics, I guess. And like I was worried to make AI content because I was like, oh, I don't want to like become an AI YouTuber or whatever. And they're like, well, like they're actually all just gonna mesh together. You might as well just like figure out a word that's just going to be all of it, because it's all really interesting stuff. Would you consider yourself like a contrarian when you think about like the world and like your beliefs and like how you navigated the world since you were a kid, kind of thing?
Oh yeah. I've always been a pain in the ass. Yeah, absolutely.
What were you like in school?
You can't, anti-authority. You can't tell me what to do. I mean, all of that stuff, for sure. That fit the bill. Yeah, I was always good grades. Ultimately, polite and all that kind of stuff, but don't tell me what to do. I'll do it my way. I remember in physics class, I figured out an easier way to do it than the textbook was showing with the formula. And I was teaching everybody in class as the teacher was up at the board, and she got all pissed off, kicked me out of class. And I'm like, but my way's easier. My way, people understand my way.
That's the funniest thing. Have you always had like an air of confidence? Was that grown? Was that built?
Yeah, I mean, it's I think all of us have a dichotomy, right? And so for me, I was instilled in me was hard work, respect your elders, respect people that came before you, but also demand excellence. Like, you need to figure it out. You need to be your best. And so I had those two things, which, sound like one sounds soft and one sounds hard. But both of those things were instilled in me by my parents, by my grandparents. So yeah, it's always been that way.
Yeah, dude. I think about that because like I just watched Game of Thrones a few months ago, and like I remember at the end of the show thinking like it's so crazy that it's just like what you were like what qualities that were instilled in you as a kid that matter at the very end of the day. Like at the very end of the show, certain people survived, certain people didn't. And you look at the people who survived, and there's like a fucking group of people that like one of them, their dad was a king, one of them, their dad was a peasant, one of their mom was like, super poor, one of them was super rich. And I was like, oh, like it makes no difference like what they were. It's just like what they taught. And I'm like, that is so powerful because I'm like 24, so like I'm probably not gonna make kids anytime soon, knock on wood. But that's something I think about. It's something that makes me nervous about just like life and things like that. And I'm still like learning about the world and things like that. But what do you think? Like, how have you grown, as a businessman, as just a normal man in like the past 5 years with all this tech stuff that's blown up in the last few years? Like, how do you think you've grown the most? What has been the biggest, like, has anything changed in the way you've grown because of the advent and the spiraling of social media and technology and stuff like that?
Yeah, look, I never would be you and I talking like this if it wasn't for the advent of social media and where social media went, and kind of that art of the possible of what could be. I've always been good at public speaking and all that, but the social media aspects, I'm very active on Twitter right now. That goes against my grain, but I know, I believe in creating the world of infinite opportunity. I believe in Bulls and Apes Project and what we're doing. And, I owe it to the community to do everything I could to bring as much value as possible. And so I'm going to shake off the awkwardness, and, I'm going to network. I'm going to do the things that like I'd rather not do, but, I'm doing them. I'm doing them because it's the right thing to do for the community. It's the right thing to do for the project. But yeah, if social media wasn't there, I wouldn't be doing the stuff that I'm doing now. So it really is looking at like a Gary V and, a lot of the inspiration that he has for people and telling people that it's possible. Like you said, micro influencers, there's ways to make money. There's ways to make a career out of this stuff. So yeah, it really shows that, that opportunities are possible. You don't have to, me growing up, it was, okay, you had to know someone rich in order to get a good job at this company or that company or have that opportunity. Man, the time that right now, with social media, now with blockchain, you don't have to wait for somebody to give you an opportunity. You could go out and get it. Now's the time.
Let's fucking go. Hold on. Let me just guys, we need some claps in the chat for that one, because that is so fucking on point. The amount of opportunities out there is it's actually like disgusting how many opportunities there are, and the fact that people aren't like doing everything they literally can to do it. Like dude, it's actually funny. Like and guys, we're gonna do this giveaway right after this story. I've been in more Ubers than about in the last month than I've been in my entire life combined by far, because I was in LA and I was in New York and I was doing all this stuff and this traveling, and I never had a car with me the whole time. The amount of people I've onboarded to join the Joyage in these Uber drives, because they're like, I don't know how this conversation started coming, but they're like, man, like I'm trying to do this, but like I'm worried about this, this, and this. And I'm like, we're like weighing out pros and cons. I'm like, bro, you should just fucking roll the dice and go for it. And like a bunch of people were like, man, like I want to start making content. Like I drive all the time. I have this like webcam, like this dash cam, and like I record all these things that happen. I want to make a TikTok. And I'm like, bro, you should just post that. You should just post that and see what happens and learn, because right now jobs are popping up out of nowhere. They're not even really jobs. They're just ways to make money online and to give yourself a little bit of freedom. Anyways, I do want to choose this giveaway winner. I have a few last questions here as well. I've got a couple normal questions, then a couple like rapid fire Q&A style. But I do want to choose this winner. So while I choose this winner, I'm going to do some cricket sounds. And again, if you want to enter this giveaway, you have about 10 seconds left. All right. All you have to do is be following myself, Anthony, and the Bulls Names Project on Twitter. Retweet the space and screenshot wherever you're at. If you're watching us on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, wherever you're watching us, screenshot it, tweet it, and tag us. That's all you have to do. I'm going to go through all these mentions here. I got way more than I thought, so I'm going to just scroll. And I normally am able to retweet them as we're going through the space, but there was a ton of fucking entries here. So I'm going to start scrolling, and I'm going to hit the crickets button. This one. All right. All right, just give me a moment here, fam. I'm just gonna. I still have to figure out a way to get like a software to do this for me. But for now, I'm just gonna start scrolling. Just gonna see where this ends at. There we go. Okay, here we go. And the winner is. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. Oh man, the winner I just chose was not following. Got to go to the next one. RIP on that one, man. That is L. That is an L. I'm so sorry. I'm not even gonna say who that was because I don't want to make them mad. Here we go. Next one. They do follow. They do follow all the people. Let's fucking go. It is Bayou Boy _ crypto. Congratulations. You are the fucking winner. You have won a NFT. Let's fucking go. I'm gonna DM you right now so that someone doesn't make a fake account and then try and scam me. That is epic. All right. Crypto, I'm gonna retweet it and winner. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Congratulations to the winner. And also thank you for everyone who's watching with us. I know I see a lot of familiar faces in here, a lot of people who've been here since the very beginning, especially in spaces. So I appreciate all of you who have been here. You guys know we do giveaways literally every single stream. Sometimes they're little, sometimes they're big, but we try and bring you guys like the coolest content, the coolest different conversations, different styles of questions, and talk about just all of, at least in my opinion, they're the most interesting thing. I hop in a lot of spaces and sometimes I'm not particularly I don't know, that into the conversation. Sometimes I like talking about interesting shit. So appreciate everyone here who's in Twitch, who's in YouTube, who's in LinkedIn. I do a couple last minute questions. I think these are really interesting because you're a founder and that's a position that most people are not in. What is your day in the life? Where are you spending most of your time? I know you're on Twitter a little bit, but what does your day in the life look like? Is it ever the same?
Sometimes it's too much the same. My wife calls it bulls and apes with breaks. And so, and the breaks aren't too often. I try to break out for dinner, but then it's back to it. Spend a lot of time in this office. So this setting, I've been very, very active or trying to be as active as possible on Twitter, because that is the place where you network. That is the place where your community is, of course, in Discord also, but been very heavy on Twitter, and then taking just a ton of meetings. I had 13 calls yesterday, 13 calls the day before, 12 calls today. We're trying to break into APAC a little bit more, break into different regions. So taking calls with Singapore, taking calls with Philippines late at night. That's what it is to be a founder right now, especially in Web3, because you're managing two things. you're managing company revenue, you're managing community floor price. I know that founders like to say, I don't pay attention to floor price, but you do, and you have to, because your community is. And so if it's important to your community, it better be important to you. And so you're managing two different things. You're managing community and floor price, and you're managing company and revenue. That means you got to work double time. It just is what it is.
That was a great point there that you just made. And I'm actually going to make a note here for my editor. I see Jen Struffle in here. Oh shit, I can't remember. I just put the little timestamp there. That was a great moment about if it matters to the community, then it must matter for you. It doesn't matter. Like, that is a fact. Because if you don't, or you let the community know that you don't care about that and you're an asshole about it or something like that, bro, that's literally like your ride or die. It's like, that's what people are there for. They're there for you. I think a lot more founders could be more active on Twitter, even though I think, I don't know, maybe people can think it's like contributing to like a black hole of nothingness. But there's nothing you can really replace with like social proof that you're there. Like if you go to a Kid Called Beast in New York and you do meet 6 or 7 people that you've been trying to meet for a long time, and they do get that real connection with you, it's not that common that you do meet someone in real life from Web3. And like, there's almost no way to replace that. Like if there's someone I have met at 2 different conferences, I've hung out with them now 2 or 3 times, and I engaged them on Twitter, I'm just gonna be more close to them than someone I haven't met that I've only met in social media and talked to on social media. It's just the facts of it. And so that is something people do need to take into account, because it's important. This question is a little bit out of left field, I guess, but do you have a shittiest moment that comes to you, maybe as an entrepreneur? I don't know, maybe as like a husband, as whoever, as whatever. Has there been a shittiest moment where you hit rock bottom and you had to pick yourself back up?
Yeah, this last year of being in Web3, and this is when right? So my corporate career, I took some risks, and I thought that they were risky, but they're nothing like the risks that I've taken this last year. And I didn't experience the highs and the lows. And this year, there's been some ridiculous highs. We did a pre-mint back in January, and we sold out the pre-mint more than we thought we were gonna, and we did it in like 40 minutes, and it was just insane. And then February 7th, we did a mint of the rest of them, the real mint, and we had tech issues, and it was a disaster, and there was marketing issues, and it was, you talk about a low. I was like huddled in the corner over here, and you're like, pick yourself up. We got to keep going. We got to keep going. We got to keep going. And we wound up grinding it out and minting it out. But yeah, no. So when you take risks, you have the highs and you've got the lows. And being a founder in this space, especially, you get both of them.
Yeah, and also with the lows too. Like, how much of the lows is personal ego to feel like you did well, to be able to say you put out like the sold out tweet or whatever. Like I see a lot of the project founders are like ready to post that, like, sold out, they just like, they want to post the sold out. And I don't quite understand it, because in like a year, if you're still going to be here, those things aren't nearly as important. However, they do matter. And sometimes like one moment like that can affect like the rest of their future and things like that. So anyways, a couple of rapid fire Q&As before we wrap up. Can you be successful and smoke weed?
I would say yes. I haven't smoked weed since 2001, but I had a good school career. I had a career at the time too, and so I was 23 at that time. So yeah, I was already working. I was successful. Sure.
Shit. All right, guys. Well, you fucking heard it. Yeah, I guess it's possible. I mean, it is possible. There are tons of people who I know who smoke every day, and some people who don't. There's just different ways to go about it. Favorite TV show
of all time?
Yeah.
Sopranos.
Oh shit. Okay, I've heard a lot of people bring up Sopranos then, because I was like, "What's the next show to watch?" And they're like,
"Number 2 is Breaking Bad."
Shit. Okay, that's also on the list. They're really that good?
Oh god, yeah. I mean, I've watched Sopranos a billion times. I could watch Breaking Bad a billion times. I love those shows.
Damn. Okay. All right. It must be settled then. Cool. Do you have any reoccurring dreams?
Yeah. I've always have a recurring dream of flying.
Really? Okay. Me too.
Yeah.
What do you think that's about?
I've looked into it before. I think it's confidence. It's a bit of confidence.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. Very cool. Do you have a favorite alcohol?
Favorite alcohol?
I mean, probably wine, I guess.
Wine is my favorite. I was going to say, but if you talk about liquor, it would be rye.
True. Okay. Do you have any tattoos?
Yeah.
Many?
What's that?
Many?
No, one.
Just the one?
Yep. It's a Lizard King. It's on my back.
Oh shit.
There's a Doors song called "Not to Touch the Earth," and at the end of it, he said, "I am the Lizard King. I can do anything," and I got that tattooed on my back.
I love it.
It's a lizard with a crown.
When did you get that?
Probably when I was like 30.
True.
So about 14 years ago.
Right on. Final question. What's your favorite food chain? What are you excited to go back and just eat on like a long ass day? You're like driving back, whatever. You're trying to swing by somewhere. What's that food chain for you, bro?
So no food chain, I'd say, but for me, it's either pizza or sushi. Like for something quick like that, it's pizza or sushi.
True. Hell yeah. Dude, well, listen, this is a fucking epic conversation. We'd love to have you back on at some point again, too, because we talked about literally all the things. And again, everyone who's watching as well, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already and you enjoyed the conversation, if you're ready for more, I do podcasts literally all the fucking time. It's the main gig for me. Hit that follow button, follow the Joyage Kingdom, follow myself, follow Anthony, of course, follow the Bulls Apes. I tagged them also above in the spaces. If you're there, you can just click on their tags right there. Super easy. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch, I appreciate all of you who are here. Anthony, did you want to like shout out anyone before we close this up?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to my team. And so, we've got an amazing team that works. I say that I work around the clock. They're working around the clock just as hard. And so they treat this project like they're founders. And I'm just so appreciative to all of them. I mean, it's just an amazing team.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, shout out to all of them. They also, guys, make sure you follow the Bulls Names because they've got some things coming up very soon. So just make sure you have their notifications on if you want to get involved into their ecosystem. Again, the Bull is the way to get in, it seems like, and we gave away one of those. So congratulations to the winner. I'm going to DM you right after the show's over. And dude, thank you again for coming on the show. This was so much fun, and we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh yeah, bro. Guys, until next time, continue on your Joyage, continue to learn, and be grateful you're alive watching this video or Twitter space stream.